On today's podcast, we're continuing with part 2 of the Shady Lane construction conversation we had from before, and they get into more details about how exactly their builds are different from anybody else in Southern Maryland. You're going to love to hear about all the technology they use and all the different neat ideas they implement that makes them a truly custom builder. Make sure you listen all the way to the end, and I hope you enjoy.
I mean, even the location of the house too.
Correct.
You don't want to be super far away, so that you don't have to pump it. Our house is pumped actually.
Yeah, you can get
So,
really creative though.
yeah.
And that's what we're good at is, we're good at making things work or thinking outside of the box to get people what they want. Sometimes it may cost more money, but if somebody doesn't want to look at their mound system, let's pump that thing, 1,000 feet away. But sometimes we say that we don't like, going into raw land, but and not being perked. But sometimes, it is fun because you can really do a whole concept plan of what all your plans are for the entire property and design around that, future pole barns or pools and that kind of stuff. Whereas,
You're speaking my
houses that,
language now. Pole barns and pools are two things that, well, we have a pool, but we need some pole barns.
yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm hearing, and I want to say this for everyone listening, I'm hearing that the first step when you're looking at land with a real estate agent is that they should be bringing you on board as early as possible. Like
yeah,
even
we
before you've
want,
really identified a piece of land, like, really talking to you guys, or if they're using a different builder, that's fine too. But like talking to someone and getting someone lined up, it shouldn't be, hey, let's go look at land. Let's put an offer in on this with a 30-day feasibility study and then scramble to find builders. You should have a builder beforehand.
Yeah, and I think having an idea of what you want your house to be as well, because we've had multiple clients, and actually we just built a house on one of the lots years ago. Kevin went and looked as your football coach, I think.
oh yeah,
Yeah, at this lot, and he was like, "Hey, I want to build this type of house, this size. Can I put it on this lot?" And Kevin was like, "Honestly, not a good idea. Like, it's all critical area. It's going to be a mess. Like, I do not advise." So he ended up not buying it. And I think he bought something else elsewhere, because the house he wanted wasn't going to work on that. He wanted like a one-story ranch spread out house, and with all your buffer zones, it just was not feasible. And we actually just last year finished the house. Well, this year we finished it. Someone bought the lot and came to us, and when they contacted, we were like, we know that. Like, that sounds familiar. And he went down to look at it. He was like, oh my gosh, this is that lot. And we had to get creative with it because it was actually a multi-generational house. So it like went out and it went up, and it was a very creative project. But like a lot that was it was a very unique lot, and there had to be a lot of creative thought into that. So when people have, 6 kids and need a 5,000 square foot house, you're not gonna be able to build that on a quarter-acre lot. And people seem to think that you can, and then they buy these lots and they can't do anything with them. So to have a builder say, yes, you can build a 4,000 square foot house for the most part, that is helpful, I think, to people to, it doesn't have to be exact, but enough to say, yes, this is feasible, or no, we need to keep looking would definitely be, I think, a good advice for people looking.
and even during the house planning process, we want to be involved as early as possible. That's why we've started this consulting service because, we've had people bring us plans and say, hey, we have these house plans. What's it cost to build? And, we end up giving them a price to build the house, and it's designed by somebody else or, designed from someone who's not familiar with the way we build here locally. So the house ends up being far over what they originally thought it should be or are comfortable with spending. So you end up scratching those plans and redesigning the house. We want to be involved from the start, and that way we can, understand what the overall budget is and design something to fit that budget. Or, if we come in a little bit over top of that budget, then let's value engineer this and find out where we can save some money, or hey, let's put a lesser cost tile in so we can get a better quality window, or let's look at some things that we could replace in 10 to 15 years and be able to splurge on things that you're not going to replace,
Right.
shingles, that kind of stuff.
Siding.
Yeah.
And we see a lot of people come in and they buy house plans online. They go online.
I literally was just about to ask about that because I have had so many people. I'm not going to lie. I've done it too for a cabin we were going to do in Virginia. But yeah,
They're
I wanted to
great
hear
for
your opinion on that.
They're great for inspiration. Love them. I go on there all the time to get ideas for people's houses. But they go on there and they see the $1,600 price tag or the $2,000 price. Buy now. All right, I got my plans. Build this for me. Well, it's on a concrete slab. Well, guess what we don't do here in Maryland? We don't build on concrete slabs. We build on crawl spaces.
Yeah.
And so then they don't have that plan for the crawl space or for the basement. So then guess what? They have to go back and buy it for another $2,000. And then so we advise clients, look, go on there, go on Pinterest, go on Instagram, go on architectural designs, look at house plans and say, oh, I like this from this one. I like this from this one. I like this. I really like the exterior of this. What does and then that way we can make the house work to your lot. But when people go online and buy plans and they come to us and they're on a concrete slab, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like we can't even do that here.
No, it's like you want people, like it's better to have more of like an inspiration than an exact idea of what you want for building. And I think that would help a lot of people. I think a lot of people think that they got to come with a building plan in hand and be like, I want you to build this on this lot. Because I have a lot of clients that do exactly that. And I'm trying to like, pump the brakes here. Let's figure out if you can even get this lot. But yeah,
we tell people all the time, they bring us inspiration. And they're like, we really love this, but there's some small things we would change, and we tell people, we're like, look, let's sit down and think about how you use it. I'm a big proponent of like looking at it and being like, well, where do you unload your groceries? Where do your kids drop all their stuff in the evening? And I'm like, if you move this wall 6 inches, Kevin gets frustrated because I like nitty gritty down into it. Like, and I'll tell you the one thing I scrap in every house plan is a water closet in the master bathroom. I cannot stand a water closet. And I'm like, it's a waste of materials. A door is expensive. We don't need that. But people think that making changes are hard on house plans, and it's really not in the scheme of things. Like, and if moving a room 6 inches to the right makes your life easier coming in with 3 kids and bags at the end of the day, move the wall. I mean, it's not that hard. And we do a lot of things once houses are framed up. We move closets, minor things, our house, we had a closet right in our mudroom and they framed it. I said, nope, I hate it. Rip it out. And we moved it. And those are things that how we get to the custom home building is like, we help people design their house to where it's practical. Because everything looks great on Instagram and on Pinterest, but then you think about it, you're like, that's not really feasible. You're never going to use that. Like, why do you need that? And people, you see the fancy stuff, and that's what people go after.
And technology has come a long way to help with that too, with 3D renderings and virtual reality and that kind of stuff. We haven't dabbled in the virtual reality yet, but that's what we've been seeing out at the Builder Show. We do a lot of photorealistic 3D renderings to help. The general homeowner or someone who wants to build the house can't interpret what a 2-dimensional plan looks like. Just a traditional floor plan. They can't actually visualize what the outside of the house.
And I'm terrible. Yeah,
I'm horrible.
If you look at my master bathroom, if you walk with and you're like, this is huge. And I'm like, oh, when I saw it on the floor plan, I didn't think it was that big. But now that it's built, I'm like, I probably could have shrank it a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, being able to use technology to your advantage has really helped people understand why something might be better than, the original way that they had proposed, that kind of stuff.
So I think what I'm getting, I was going to ask about the building process, but what I think I want everyone to take away from it is the building process really depends on the land and the house that you want. And that really depends on that consultation with you. So I think to say, this happens month 1, this happens month 2, this happened month 3 is kind of pointless. You just really need to start. It's that take one step and then you start figuring out from there. What I do want people to understand is like kind of the areas that you're seeing right now that are more suitable for building. You kept talking about, the 1/4 acre lots, and I'm thinking probably, the smaller lots that are still pieced out in California, Maryland, and kind of those other areas, more populated areas. Are you seeing areas where there are bigger lots available for people, or do you have lots that, you're sitting on right now that you're looking to start building in certain areas, or?
So we only have one lot, and it's only an acre, so it's not that big.
It's an acre in California.
Yeah,
if anybody's interested.
Yeah.
It's on. I believe it's on Flatiron Road. If I'm not.
No, Indian Bridge,
Indian
actually.
Bridge.
Oh, Indian Bridge. That's right. I don't know why I said.
So good school district. Good school district. But we live in Breton Bay, and we love it there. And we know the realtor that created another development right past Breton Bay on the left called Breton Knolls. And we've driven back in there. We've had a couple clients look in there. And I think those lots range from 2 to, I think there's 1 10-acre lot in there maybe. And they've got the road in now, and I think that's a nice area. I don't know the price point on the lots, but that's one of the developments I see now that is bigger lots that isn't like half acre, quarter acre, or smaller lots. I know that down in Drayton, there's a subdivision from an old farm, where you're
Is
going.
it Mount Pleasant?
Yes.
Is that the one?
Pleasant.
Is that one,
Yeah.
the one Charlotte's doing?
Yeah, Hebway, I believe it's called Hebway. That's another. Yep.
Yeah, and we used to live down there, and I love it down there too. So that I think has a couple acre lots on it. There were some on Ritchie Road down in South County. That's technically Leonardtown, but I call it Valley League. So there
But
are
you guys,
still.
you're building on those right now, aren't you? You're building a.
Yes, we have one
We have
down
friends
there
that live
now.
on Ritchie Road, so we drive by the new construction right there where the gravel and the pavement end. We drive by that every once in a while. So
That's one of ours. Cool. That is actually a multi-generational house as well. We've seen a lot of trending for that. That's been a fun one. We're excited for that one. It should be done by the end of September.
I think another creative way that a lot of people don't think about is people don't see the beauty in something that's ugly. So, finding old dilapidated houses or, lots with trailers on them.
I love a good shithole. Shitholes are my jam. Like, the nastier the better. We have been in some bad places, and every flip house that we've bought has been
pretty nasty. Yeah.
One of them we had to wear gas mask in because
and that saves you guys some fees too. If it's a brand new lot, you're paying impact fees and you're doing the well and you're doing the septic. I got to imagine that if someone can find a tear down or just something that has utilities already on it, it's got to save some sort of cost for everybody involved.
Yeah, we tell a lot of friends. We have a lot of friends who are looking for rentals right now. Actually, they want to buy something and turn it into a rental. I'm like, look for the biggest shithole you can find. Like, just that, because like I said, you can build something and save on the fees, your well and your septic and your impact fee, running electric to it. Not only is that costly, but it's also a time constraint. Breeze line, internet's a huge thing. So if all that's already there, you're already saving thousands of dollars by not having to put that in. So I tell people, drive around. If you see something, write them a letter. I mean, we've written letters to all kinds of people.
That's actually how we got the one on Indian Bridge.
Yeah, Kevin wrote them a letter, and they decided to sell it to us. And
that's crazy,
right?
And we actually, one of the places we bought, Valley Lane down by you, by Betty Russell's. I don't even remember how we found out about that one, but we bought that from an older lady, and that was the one we had to wear a gas mask in. It was bad. There was there was a hole in the roof the size of a truck. How she was living in it, beyond me. But we got that, and we went and we started doing some homework on it. Well, it was actually 2 lots.
Yeah, it was 2 separate parcels.
And we were like, they advertised it as 1 lot and 1 house. Well, once we bought it and started doing homework to build on it, we're like, oh crap, we've got 2 separate parcels. We can build 2 houses on this. So it actually worked out even better for us.
We had to perk the second lot though.
Yeah.
Skip that.
We didn't have to perk it, but that was a 2-for-1 deal, which had we not bought this dilapidated house, we would, no one would have ever known. And that worked out really well for us.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the opportunity is more in like some of the newer, more existing communities that have some lots available still. Is there anything else you want people to know about Shady Lane?
So, we touched on us being a custom home builder and how we're bringing the newer, more popular things that you see on Instagram, you see on TikTok, you see here. And when we do consults with people, we like to explain what makes us different than other builders. And I really pride the fact that when we build a house, we do, so what's that thing called Matterport?
Yep.
We actually have Kyle Weaver come out and do Matterport in a house after it's framed and roughed in. And I don't know any other builder that does this. And it's included in your overall budget. And what it is, if no one knows what a Matterport is it's like a 3D scan of your house. And we really enjoy it because it shows you where all your pipes are, your electric, you can see everything. And we give you the link and you have it so that 10 years from now, if you want to tear out a wall or do this or do that,
That's
you
crazy.
can see what's behind the wall. We don't have it done in our personal house, and I'll give a funny story for everyone. So our laundry room was a regular door, and it just wasn't working. So I was like, we need to make this a pocket door. So Kevin was actually going on a bachelor trip for a friend out in like BFE, Ohio at dirt track. And he's like, I'm going to send the guys while I'm out to do that, blah, blah, blah. They come, they're cutting out the door, they're doing all their stuff. Well, there's a sprinkler pipe right where the pocket door has to go. So they cut it and turned it off, cut it, blah, blah, blah. Well, that water had been sitting in the pipes in the tank for 2 years, so it doesn't smell very good. It was like the worst smell, which that's normal because it just sits in the tank. And I was literally gagging because it smelled like stagnant water throughout the entire house. I was cussing him up, down. I couldn't get him on the phone. I had gone to, I think, 4 hardware stores to find a pipe fitting to glue onto this pipe to get through because the sprinkler guys couldn't come till Monday. And it was a disaster. So I had to leave all the windows in the house open for 4 days. I had shoved so many paper towels in there. The guys cut more pipe because they couldn't get them out. So had we had a Matterport, we would have known that we needed the sprinkler guys there to prepare, and I would have had to live with that smell for 4 days.
That's the benefit of going with a custom builder, especially here in Southern Maryland, because there's no one, literally no one that, one, is bringing the type of materials you guys are bringing down here, 2, that are doing a lot of the design and build like you guys are doing, and 3, the technology. When you said Matterport, I know it because I'm a real estate agent. We use it just for, staging houses and stuff like that. But to use it that way, I never would have thought of that. So that is something that is really awesome.
Clients really love it. And we've done it when we're punching out stuff so we know where to hang towel bars, so we put extra blocking in for various areas. And the other thing that we do that it takes a very long time. So once everything's roughed in, well, somewhat roughed in, we go with all of our trades, our HVAC, our electrical, and our plumbing, and we do a rough-in walkthrough, which we walk through with the clients, and it takes 4 hours, depending on the house. And we go through room by room, and we say, how do you want your lights to look? Do you want 4 recessed lights and a chandelier? Do you want just a fan? Where do you want your outlets? Your bed's going on this wall. Do you want quads on either side? And we let them pick where they want their outlets. So their budget allows for whatever is by code. And then if there's any extras by the time they're done, which normally there's not many extras added, it's just moving the locations of them, and they get to design where their outlets are. And we encourage them to think about, where are you going to put your desk when you work from home? What do you plug in behind your nightstand? Where are you putting your TV? So that gives them a really custom feel of it all, of being able, we've lived in a couple rentals where, you got to run extension cords across the bedroom because the outlet's on the other wall. So we try to avoid that for our clients so that they can really have a custom home. They get to pick where their light switches go for the most part.
You lay out all of our custom closets.
Yeah, custom closets,
So my wife, Carrie, would love that, would love the 4 hour, going through. That's what, she can see all that stuff. She's this person that sees in 3D, sees everything. I would be literally curled up in the fetal position after about 45 minutes from having to make that many decisions.
It is a lot.
I can imagine how it would be really helpful, and having you guys walk through with the people too and give your insight of builds you've seen and builds you've done in places you've been. I can see that. And I know dealing with other builders and other people in the area, especially the pre-build or the pre-planned communities, you don't have that. The outlet goes here, the light switch goes here, and maybe you get to pick something other than almond cover switch plates. But that's about the choice you have in it.
We really pride ourselves on that. And, there's little things that people don't think about. We do this every day. People have these storage closets in these pantries. I'm like, why don't you put an outlet in there? Well, why do I need an outlet in there? Is your vacuum a plug-in? Oh, that is a great idea. Now it's not sitting in your kitchen. So we like to offer that expertise, as we call it, to be able to allow people to use their house the way they want to use it. Like I said, people can't really visualize that and think about those things until it's too late. And
Yep.
then what are you going to do? Bust open your wall and run wires and everything else, which the Matterport would come in handy for that. But
Yeah.
we try to pre-plan all of that before we get to that point.
And being along on that process, it helps to give our insight, but also a lot of clients don't know, what's extra, what costs more money, or, what's included in the budget. So we prepare job site binders with all of our subs bids, what the scope of work is, plans, that kind of stuff. So that way, as we're walking through, we can kind of say, hey, we didn't ever talk about that before, so that would cost extra. Or, hey, yep, we're good. We had this many recessed lights allotted in the budget. We're under that. We can kind of give and take a little bit.
Yeah.
So during that process, we can kind of educate them on what would cost more, or what, is it a significant cost, or will it wash itself out with something that they gave up, later on through the walkthrough.
Yeah, and we have a lot of people during that walkthrough who, like, the whole process, they've never wanted, like, Ring cameras or anything like that. And then as we're walking through, they're like, it'd be nice to be able, and then we're like, well, let's go ahead and put a plug up there, or hardwire, or Ring floodlight camera, and just things there's so many decisions to be made. Like at the very beginning, people don't think about. There's just so much. You're picking flooring, cabinets, everything, and it just adds up. And you sometimes forget those things.
Yeah, and it's not easy for you guys to go through this process too. I think it's easier for builders to just say, this is where it is, this is what you get. It sounds like you really care. I mean, simply enough, it sounds like you care, and you want to make sure, like we're going back to that legacy thing, that someone loves this, someone wants to stay in it, and the person, if there is someone that comes after them, feels the same way.
Yeah. I mean, we do care a lot. I work a lot with clients, like on the design aspect. I'm not an interior design by any means, but I have a lot of clients who come and it's like, hey, can you help me pick out light fixtures and plumbing fixtures? And we'll order. I have one client right now. We've ordered some light fixtures in. We ordered this really nice pendant that looked great on the internet. And guess what? It looks like crap in person. So most builders would be like, sorry, that's what you picked. That's what we're keeping. Guess what? We're shipping it back, and it's getting out of here because it's just not what the design called for. And I'm not going to make someone live with that because that's what they picked. I mean,
exactly.
Pictures on the internet are very different than what comes out in person.
Oh yeah.
And that part, other people don't want to take the time to do that. Sure, it's a pain in the butt driving to the shipping store, these big boxes, but I want you to be happy in your home and not have a light fixture that you hate.
Yeah, and that brings me to one point that I want to talk about a little bit is, clients come to us and say, what do you charge per square foot to build? Or, how much does it cost per square foot? I absolutely despise that number. And the reason is because every builder calculates that differently. Every builder offers a different level of service. So not one builder, builder A compared to builder B, they could have the same square foot price, but you're going to get a lesser service or a lesser quality product from one versus the other. So I want to tell the listeners, it's super important to take a tour of homes that have been built to see what you actually get. And don't tour a model home, tour, a home that a regular homeowner would buy, in the planned communities. The model homes have all the bells and whistles.
Oh yeah, but that's extra.
So, and
upsell.
We during our consultation we'll kind of talk about that, and we do have a figure that we talk to people about, and that's always variable, but it's just based off the average home that we build, and that's a turnkey number, not this will get you the shell of your house, but your well and septic are extra. That's why we always advise our clients, let's get started on this pre-construction process. Iron out, what is the septic design? What is, the required driveway that we have to put in? All that kind of stuff, because all of that is a variable cost that inflates or deflates that cost per square foot.
Yeah, and you kind of touched on it there for a second. With the well and septic and turnkey, so I was talking to someone about that the other day. We've had, I think, 3 or 4 people call us, and we kind of talk to them, and they're like, well, turnkey, does that include the well and septic? And I'm like, yeah, like you need that to live in that. Well, we were talking to someone else, and they gave us a price, and they told us that excluded the well and the septic in the driveway. And I was like,
And that reason is because they probably didn't have a site plan to be able to give them those figures. But
Well, and people don't realize those are some high price items they're leaving out too. A driveway is expensive. Well and septic, those are three like big ticket items in a house.
if someone's
And for a site plan wise, that's a big deal too. Where are you going to fit those things? If you don't already know the price and where you're going to fit them, especially driveway with lot coverage issues, like that's
so
crazy.
You tell someone $300K excluding those three items. By the time you add those in, you're looking at almost $400,000 probably just in those three items. That's probably a little high, but that shows you that it could be, a big difference between someone's budget or not.
Yeah.
And it was just really shocking to me that people had to ask that question. And I'm like, look, when I turn this over to you, you can sleep there that night. Like, that's it.
And I think the other point that I wanted to touch on is a lot of people are scared to overbuild for the market. And it's really surprised us, especially with these two multi-generation houses that we've designed and built. We're finishing one up, but it's amazing to me how high property values are in Southern Maryland. So, our concerns designing these larger houses, you've got, not just the square footage, but you've got two kitchens, you've got two appliance packages, you've got two master suites. There's a lot of double costs, which increases that cost per square foot to build, and also the total cost to build. And, those two particular families were concerned about getting comps to be able to secure a mortgage for those properties, and no issues whatsoever.
Yeah, and we've noticed a lot of
there's demand for those type of houses, and when they do go up for sale, and they go quick, and they go for a premium, especially in new builds. We just don't have many around here like that.
We have a lot of people who I live 500 feet from my parents, and some days that's too close. But a lot of people want these multi-generational houses, and and they have to think about it too later on in life. That could be a rental. You can always modify it to be a rental. Partition off the door or put a deadbolt on one side, so you could get income from it in the future. Or when your kids are older, move them to that side, and you're on your side. So I do think there is a demand for it, but the cost, you're putting two houses in one, basically.
Yeah.
You're building two houses.
Yeah, but it's not just those types of houses either. Even single family houses, people want, we've noticed that people want higher quality stuff for larger homes, which end up costing more money. And generally speaking, custom homes are costing more than anything that's on the market currently. But the thing to think about, most homes that are on the market are used houses. So you can't compare apples to apples, comparing new construction or a custom home versus a home that's 10, 15, 20 years old.
And we've had quite a few people who have gone back and forth between tear down their current home and rebuild it or renovate. And, when you get into renovation, and we do large scale renovations as well, but you might not always get what you want. Sometimes it's better if it's that old of a house to start from the ground up and get what you truly want if you're going to be there for the rest of your life. Because renovation, you never know what you're going to crack open. You've got certain things that you have to stick with. And so we kind of do some engineering and cost evaluation on what is going to be best for those clients. But to get the best bang, if there's someone who's going to sell it in 10 years, I'm probably not going to tell you to build a new house. Let's do a big living room, kitchen remodel, and but it's not going to be exactly what that person wants, probably. But there definitely is a lot of value engineering that we do in all of our jobs to get people to their price point that they want to be at.
Yeah.
So we've done a good job of not really talking about this so far, but not being salesy in the. But I think you've convinced a lot of people that are probably listening that they want to work with you. I know for myself, I'm sitting here listening, talking about multi-generational and rentals and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm all on board with you. And what I want to do now is kind of wrap it up and tell everyone listening where they can reach out to you. Like, what are the best places to find you? Online, social media, website, that kind of stuff. How can they get in touch with Shady Lane?
Yep. So we've got a website, shadylaneconstruction.com, and it's actually getting ready to get revamped. We actually just did a major rebrand. I don't know if you noticed it or not. So we got a new logo, and we're trying. It was a little more handyman looking. So I said we need to sophisticate it, make it look a little more custom home builder. So we're getting ready to redo the website. So right now it is up and operational, but it could go down here soon. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. On Instagram, we do a lot of sharing of stories of things that are going on behind the scenes, you know, your typical social media things. And I know not everyone's a big fan of social media, but that's where you can kind of see what we're like as people, what our guys are like. You know, we post things about the guys so that you can see what crew is working on your house. You know, that's the fun stuff to me is you guys can see that we're all a family, we all have fun. So we're on Instagram, Facebook, the website, and then our new office number. We actually got an office number now instead of our personal cell phones, which is a big deal for us. I know. So that is 301-542
5455.
Yep. See, I don't even know the number.
There we go.
And then we both have emails, Cassie at ShadyLaneLLC.com and then Kevin at ShadyLaneLLC.com.
And I'll put all that in the show notes too.
Yeah.
So like in the description, all that stuff people listening, it'll be down in the show notes.
We're trying to do more social media stuff. Some days we slack, but we're trying to get more, you know, it's time consuming as we talked about. So we're trying to get there.
Well, that's awesome, guys. I appreciate you coming on. I think this was a really informational podcast, and I really think that a lot of people that are looking to build in St. Mary's County and Calvert County are really going to learn a lot from it. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.